So we have a global health emergency, and now countries are getting ready to lock down. But what else happens with lockdowns? Well, we see economies crumble. This is why many people are now asking if there's going to be additional stimulus. Now, I'm going to address that question in today's video. But the first thing that you need to know is that what happens in other countries does not mean it will happen here in the United States. So, I'm going to talk about what's going on in other countries, but I'm going to address the big question. Will the United States break out more stimulus? All right? So we'll jump into that in just a moment. But all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So before we get to the question about stimulus, we first need to understand what is going on. Well, here's what's happening. Right now, the whole world has been blindsided. And the reason why we have been blindsided by this Mpox disease or virus is simple. We have had other priorities. We've been worried about wars between Russia and Ukraine, a war between Israel and Hamas. Then we got Lebanon jumping in, we got Iran jumping in, we got other issues as well. Here in the United States, we have issues with our border, we have a presidential election coming up, and this is turning into a massive problem because we hear all the news about the upcoming election, about the U.S. border being open, about protests, about a shooting that happened, a potential or a possible assassination attempt, right, on former President Donald Trump. We heard about all those things. But for so long, we didn't hear about Mpox. Well, look at this. It says how the world sleepwalked into the global Mpox emergency. Now, here's the issue, and I want to read this. Okay, I want to read this very first paragraph from Bloomberg. Look at this. It says a mutated form of Mpox has been circulating in the Democratic Republic of Congo for months. Now the response to what has become a global health emergency faces a key obstacle. The country still doesn't have a single vaccine. That was as of 2 days ago. Well, guess what we learned just yesterday? It says Congo says it will receive its first Mpox vaccines next week to address the global emergency. All right. Well, who is sending these? Okay. Which country is sending these? I'm just curious. Well, look at this. This is from Bloomberg as well. It says Congo expects Mpox vaccines from U.S. by as early as next week. It says the number of cases estimated at 16,700 with 570 deaths. Yeah. It's a serious threat. But here's what's very interesting about this. They are going to get about 50,000 doses. Okay? This, hopefully, is going to prevent pretty much a further outbreak. But here's what you need to understand. Mpox has already been spreading. Okay? But I want to read you this. Okay? Look at this right here. This is from yesterday. It says officials, Pakistan Mpox strain is different from the DRC strain. And I warned you about this just the other day as well, that they are potentially going to lock down. Okay? So that's what they're already discussing. Pakistan, Afghanistan, potentially locking down their borders. They don't want people in and out. But I want to read this to you. Okay? Look at this right here. It says, a case of the Mpox virus detected in Pakistan last week is not the same strain of the virus spreading on the African continent. It says health officials determined that the case in Pakistan can be classified as clade 2B. It says currently the ongoing outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC, is primarily associated with the class 1B. Notably, as of now, there have been no reported cases of class 1B in Pakistan. Okay. Now, it says, however, Swedish officials said last week a clade 1B subclade was detected in an individual, becoming the first linked to the African outbreak and diagnosed outside of Africa. Okay. here's where things are interesting. We have seen the Mpox vaccine or the Mpox virus spread before. This isn't new, but before it was being spread from animal to person, okay, through close contact. Now it's being spread from person to person. Just look at this, okay? Then this is why I think this is such a big deal. And again, I think this is interesting, but look at this. It says the viral infection can spread, according to the World Health Organization, through close contact with an infected person. That contact can include touching, kissing, sex, and talking with or breathing close to somebody who is infected. Okay. Children are the ones that are being infected the most. Number one, they do have a weakened immune system. The elderly is the second group that is infected the most behind children, and then obviously, older teens and adults falling behind. But here's what I think is interesting. We continue to look at this from an outside perspective, because here in the United States, we're not seeing a lot of cases, okay? But just recently, I think just yesterday, we did see a case in Florida, okay, from somebody that did not really have close contact. So what's going on there? Well, that's where it brings in the United States. This is one of the reasons why experts believe that the United States is going to come to the aid of the DRC, because they want to make sure that this does not end up here in the U.S. But why? Well, number one, I think all countries that have the capability should provide some type of assistance to other countries, especially when we have the vaccines available. Here's the other reason. The United States cannot afford to see this end up on our shores. We can't have this in the U.S., okay? We just can't. The reason for this is because, number one, we are in the middle of an election, okay? This is the campaign time, okay? So that's an issue there. The second reason why is we do not have the available funds to send out more stimulus. We are just now hearing that the Federal Reserve is going to cut rates 3 times over the next handful of months, and this will be 25 basis points each. By having these rate cuts, we are likely going to see additional inflation, so we cannot have rate cuts at the same time we send out stimulus. That will cause massive inflation, and that's not something that the United States needs or wants. Now, stimulus is not completely off the table, but stimulus checks to the American people, that would be done. As far as stimulus to businesses to keep them afloat, again, not going to happen. Could we see stimulus to elderly if they have to stay home, they couldn't go to work? Yes, that's possible. Could we see it to children, to healthcare facilities? Yes, we could see that. But again, it will have to come from somewhere. I don't think our current Congress, I don't think the upcoming president and vice president, who will both be new for the next administration, I don't think they're going to be able to pass just whatever they want. There's going to be some issues there. So just understand that yes, the United States may face this virus. We may see this hit the U.S. here very soon. Some are expecting that this could happen during the winter months when COVID and Mpox, right, really hit us both at the same time. But again, if this happens, don't expect for stimulus to be there to save you. Expect the economy is going to struggle. Expect businesses will close. People won't be able to eat. That is likely what we will see. Okay? This is one of the reasons why experts believe the U.S. is coming to the aid of the DRC and any other countries to ensure that this pretty much gets solved immediately and it doesn't hit our shores. That's what they're expecting. So, I don't know how much more we could do. The only thing I'm going to tell you is I'll be here. I'll keep you updated on what the U.S. tries to do, how this is impacting us here, and obviously abroad as well. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.